Good morning, everyone. This is Shauna, the Tax Goddess, and with me today, I am super excited, is Joie. Joie Seldon is a speaker, author, coach, and emotional intelligence master trainer. Now, be cautious here, because EQ, emotional intelligence, is some dangerous stuff. It's very, very powerful. She's got decades of experience, education, and experimentation resulted in the creation of a highly effective training called the Joie Method. And you can see emotions, which way am I going? Emotions at work right here, okay? Her in-person and instructor-led courses, Emotions at Work, she's helped thousands of executives and professionals successfully navigate the challenging issues in careers, in workplace issues. She's the author, of course, of the Emotions, an Owner's Manual, okay, which I think we can see. Can we see that in your background? Is that
here.
Right there? I love it. And of course, she's the author. She's presented to worldwide audiences, and she holds a degree now, somatic psychology. What's somatic psychology?
Soma is the whole person, including the body. So somatic psychology is an approach to mental and emotional well-being by including the body in the process. We're embodied beings. So everything we experience throughout our whole body. And it's a way to access information and release blocks that you can't get to intellectually.
Ooh, did I just tell you this was powerful or what?
Very powerful and quick.
I love it. Very quick. Well, and I'm sorry if this is a terrible example, but I'm kind of hearing like when you smell your favorite smell and it makes you think of a memory.
That's actually, since memory is an acting technique to help you evoke emotions. So we do have visceral connections, smells, touches, visions that connect us to memories that have an emotional, had an emotional impact of some kind. So,
Guys, this is going to be a fascinating episode. I'll tell you what. Okay. So the point of this podcast is how to optimize your business to run without you. And when I asked you before we got on, so how does EQ, how do emotions, how do all of that tie into optimizing your business to run without you? You had really brought up two primary things that I think we're going to cover today. The first one is this is an amazing tool for reducing stress and anxiety, right? So that's piece one. And piece two is how can you harness your emotions to get greater productivity, which could be massive for people, right? Especially ADD people, ADHD, you're jumping around, too much going on, all the things. So you tell us, where do we start today?
I think the best place to start is to really ask, what are emotions? Because when we talk about emotional intelligence, a lot of people think that it has to do with empathy and compassion, which is, a wonderful component of it. But it's much deeper than that, and emotions are part and parcel of every single choice and decision that we make, every relationship we have. We are emotional beings. And so whenever I speak, I ask my audience and potential clients and new clients, what are emotions? If we're talking about being intelligent about something, well, what is that? And it's I usually get silence, and then somebody's feeling.
What's going through my mind going, I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I mean, they're so integral a part of who we are as people that we don't really step back and look at, this is a thing. And so let me give you my definition. I think that's a great place to start. Emotions are a biological, meaning they happen in the body, information system. And their purpose is to tell you what your relationship is to anything and everything that's happening to you. Outside, it's to people, to events, circumstances, and inside, it's our relationship with ourselves. Our beliefs, our attitudes, our history, our memories, all of that. So they are bringing us information in order to prompt us to action that is optimally beneficial for our survival and our well-being. So we have this mechanism. You've heard of fight or flight.
Of course.
Fight or flight. So that's how we've survived the cave days, and we managed to,
No
as a
tigers eating
species.
us.
Yeah, right. And we see it in animals, but we have that available because we have to have some mechanism that allows us to survive, so that we can actually move faster than we can think. However, in our modern culture, so much of what triggers us, it will actually trigger part of that primal or instinctual aspect of our emotions, but we're not bringing our present day thinking, connecting with the visceral experience that we're having, and we project meaning onto what's happening, and we think something's wrong or something's bad. And one of the things about emotions is that many of them are labeled as negative. Fear, anger, shame. These are negative emotions. And I know, I don't know about you, but when something is negative, I really don't want to have anything to do with it.
Well,
I don't want to
talk
experience
about
that.
fight or flight, right? Like, yep, going away, go away,
Yeah,
go
right.
away.
I'm going to get out of here, or maybe
Yeah.
I'm just going to, I'm going to get mad and become overwhelmed by the emotion. And so we either stuff it, deny it, try to control it, or we let the emotion overwhelm us and take charge and dictate our choices. And that's where we get into trouble. So my premise is that emotions themselves are not negative because we need them. We need them to survive. We need them to interact with each other. But it's our mismanagement of them, and frankly, are just ignorance. We just don't know. It's actually a relatively new thing, emotional intelligence, but it's actually a science, and a lot of what's helped it is science.
When I was just about to say, I mean, so we go through school and we get trained on in normal intellect. I'm not sure what else to call that, but math and science and like the interaction with the world. But I can't recall ever taking a class on how to manage your emotions or how to even process them. I think that would probably do a massive job for our entire culture if we actually had one class at least on what is emotion and how does it work.
It would change the world. It truly would change the world. And there are some companies that are doing that and focusing on children and doing emotion education for children. And the sooner the better. My specialty is adults, and working with people in business. Because in the business world, and I've not been a traditionally business person, but I began working with business people about 20 years ago. And I love it because we spend so much time at work, and especially if you're a business owner or you're running a business, managing a business, it can be all consuming. And I love your optimizing your business so that things can run with the least effort. That and so there's organizational aspects, and a lot of companies focus on, the tactical aspects and, what's the product and how are we going to sell it and the marketing. And they miss that part of the interpersonal relationships of the people who are working for them.
I was just about to say it is a very, very, very rare business that has a product only and no humans involved.
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, I think I've maybe met like two, and that's about it in my 20 years of doing this stuff. Crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Well, so okay, so let's talk about that then. Let's talk about the productivity. So how do you start bringing something into your business, right? So you've got a staff of 10 people, right? 50 people, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
How do you start building in this EQ, emotional intelligence? Like, how do you even bring that into a business?
I love this question. Excuse me.
I can tell you're getting awful clumsy about it.
I'm getting
all
like
so passionate. Yes.
I'm so passionate about this. What I have learned by working with individuals who work in companies, as well as the people who are running them, is it has to do in a way with communication. Okay. So things happen. I mean, nothing is ever perfect. And so I would say in a company, the most important thing to start with is to actually set up a protocol for communicating, especially when someone is upset or has something that they want to share. Because people are, I do coaching around the world for this one company and teams remotely. And I find that no matter where someone lives, what their culture is, what their job is, people want to do their best. Everybody wants to contribute, and you want to feel seen and heard. And so having a protocol a way that you can communicate with your manager and your manager really hears what you're saying, or HR, and that whoever is running the company at the top has an awareness of what's going on. You can't day to day be in touch with every employee, especially in a big
You'd
company,
never sleep.
but you can have communication that goes up and down the chain, and that you have a place where people can safely say what's going on. Because there's miscommunication that happens. We have different personalities, different approaches, different backgrounds, and then somebody does something a particular way, and it's like, well, that's not the way it should be done. And we get upset. People get upset. They are either angry, or they have then if they don't have a way to process it for themselves. So I really highly advocate actual training in emotional intelligence, so that your individuals working there have tools for self-regulation, self-management. Emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. And so you need to be able to be self-aware. And when you can manage your own charge of your emotions and understand, oh, this thing I'm feeling, I'm calling it anxiety. But what it really is fear with a little bit of anger thrown in. And so for an example of what emotions are, fear and anger, these are the core emotions of fight or flight.
Yep.
And they're the big ones that come up at work. Fear's message when your life is not threatened is pay attention. So we have an activation. And as I said, they're biological. There is very specific activations in your autonomic nervous system that activate certain processes, and fear is contracting. Often you will get still, your breathing will get shallow because there's this alert. Something has happened.
Yeah.
And what we humans do is say, oh, well, something's wrong here. Yeah. And I needed, and so we get into a state of the emotion rather than, oh, I feel this tension. Oh, I feel fear.
Yeah.
Instead of calling it anxiety. Oh, and I'm also angry. And anger's message is, no, this is not okay with me. It's essentially a boundary setter.
Yep.
I like something that's happened and I get activated, but what it's saying is that this is not in alignment with my values, or this is not the way I would do it. And so I'm saying no. And when we can recognize the simple message, core message within the complexity of our humanness and human reaction, then we have something very tangible to work with.
And so what I'm totally hearing, right, for those of us that are neophytes in emotions and what do we do here and how should we be thinking about these things, I'm almost kind of wondering if there's like a cheat sheet that I can print and like tape to the side of my monitor, like this stress equals this and this means this, and go do this when you hear this, go do this. So
in a way, I mean, that's what I do in my course, Emotions at Work. I actually walk people through step by step, to starting with self-awareness and really understanding there's 7 emotions in my system, and to understand each of those and what the core message is and what's activated in the body. So you start to tune into your own body, which is something that a lot of people are not in the habit of. And then tools to not get rid of the emotion, but how to calm the nervous system so you can stay present. And this is where the power is then, oh, I have anxiety. Oh, no, there's fear and anger. And this is what I'm experiencing. And now I'm connecting my thinking to it. And I'm kind of stepping back as almost as if a witness to this experience. And then I can make a conscious choice.
And there we go. So
I need to have a conversation with this person, or I need to change this behavior, or maybe it's something about me that I'm projecting onto the situation because of my history. I've had this happen before, and so I'm taking that and I'm dumping it onto what's going on here. So it can be complicated, but I think it's really that we're complicated, we people. And so knowing yourself is very helpful, and it's liberating, honestly.
And so one of the little tips that I'm hearing here is it's okay. It's absolutely okay to feel the emotion, have the emotion, but maybe give a pause between the emotion and the reaction to the emotion.
Yes.
So if you can trigger yourself to just wait, just
it's
1 second. Just wait a second.
Yes. Yes. And then
Okay.
that awareness is what allows you. And we're such a fast-paced world. It's amazing what taking 30 seconds
Yeah.
even. It doesn't have to take long, especially the more attuned you are to it. And I have exercises I take clients and students through to actually practice feelings so that you move from one feeling to the next. So you recognize that emotions actually are meant to bring you the information and move on. Emotere is emovere is the root word of emotion, and it means to move out. So emotions bring you the information and move on. Now, chronic situations can go on, and sadness has its own timing based on the value of that which is lost. It's about loss, sadness.
Yeah.
So, but
Huh.
yes, taking a pause, taking a breath.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So that's what I feel. Right now I'm happiness, but wait, why am I happy? I'm learning new things. This is good. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So tell us a little bit about, I know we only have like 5 minutes left here. So tell us, what is the one tip? So it's obviously, people go read her book, go check out, you've got YouTube, all the information is down here below, right? Check out her course. If you own a business, if you've got staff, if you're confused as to why Sally's always angry at Joe and you can't seem to get them to work together, reach out to Joy. Okay.
Absolutely.
So Joy, what is the one, if you want our listeners to leave with one thing, just one thing that they can think about, what is that one thing?
Your emotions are on your side. They are for you. They are bringing you information. And when you pay attention to them, and as if you are the CEO and your emotions are your prized employees, and so you listen to them, then you can make a decision, make a choice as to what to do with it. And sometimes that choice is internal. It's, I see I need to slow down, or I need to change my attitude here. Or it's external. I need to have a conversation, or maybe we need to change this procedure because it's driving my employees crazy. Whatever it is, but it's driving you to driving you or pointing you to something that you need to pay attention to, and to recognize that they're all there for a reason. And the more we develop a relationship with our own emotions and value them, the freer we become. And frankly, I have become more joyful since I used to not be me, the happy person you see, believe me.
Oh, you're another redhead. Of course you're happy. We're fabulous. This is a whole nother issue. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Joy. This has been super informative. And now you can hear in my voice, I'm like, wait, what about this? What about this? I feel like I've got 50 million more questions for you. So,
Yeah.
okay. So website, guys, all the information is down below. Of course, if you're hearing this on podcast, we'll have all of Joy's information in the show notes for today. What else? Joy, any last words for our audience?
Oh, this has been such a pleasure. I love your attitude, and you certainly have a lot of joy in you, which is just infectious and lovely and authentic.
Thank you.
And so I really appreciate this opportunity to get the word out. A lot of people say emotional intelligence, but they don't really totally understand what it means. So every time I have an opportunity to just bring a little bit light to the subject, I appreciate it very much.
I love it. Well, I have to mention one last thing, because before we got on this meeting, you said, oh, yeah. Somebody I talked to said, oh, I've taken an EQ course. It was all of 2 hours.
2 hours.
And the answer is basically, listen, honey, that's an overview. Okay.
Yes.
That is not training. How much time, if somebody really wanted to get good at this stuff, right? Like the 80-20 rule, good, right?
Yeah. I mean, my course is an 8-week course, although it's self-paced. You can go through it faster if you want. And there are live Zoom sessions that I facilitate that go along with that. So there's 4 live Zoom sessions. In that 8 weeks, and it's step by step so that you can build one on top of the other. It's not a linear process. It's a process that stacks up. That's my timer.
No, you're so good. And here I am running us over. I'm sorry, Joy. I
want to be, I can be all here all day, but it's a builds up so that when you take the course, you have a step-by-step, and you have a community, and you have support, and you have many different ways of learning it. Then it's a matter of practice. When you started out you weren't the tax goddess from day one. You became, maybe it was in you, obviously, but you became the tax goddess with your years of expertise that it enriches. And the beautiful part of this is you start with the simple things, but the results is immediate. People start getting results from the very first week because of the information. So as you build on that, then you have tools, and you take those. I check in with people a year or 2 or 3 years later, and they're still using the tools that they learned because they're simple.
I love it. Joy, it's been a pleasure. You are so sweet to come on today. And for all of our listeners, please, please, please go check out Joy. Go check out her information. It sounds like all of us, since we were probably 2, could have used this education. So we've got a little bit of catching up to do.
Yeah, but you can do it. I started late, so.
I love it. I love it. Well, Joy, thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure. And again, everybody, if you have questions, reach out to Joy. If you have questions for Tax Goddess, you can reach out to us as well. I've thrown my information down on the bottom. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day. So thank you so much for joining us here today on Optimizing Your Business to Run Without You with Shauna the Tax Goddess and the fantastic Joy. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.